one, I think you're gonna find it easier than the convertible. Did anyone have trouble with that one, or did it go okay? Did it go okay? Yeah, good. Good, good. So the first thing you're going to do is sew the shoulder seam. So the same thing. This is like exactly the same front and back that we used for the other piece. So make sure the right sides are together, depending on your serge. Make sure you sew at your notch. So you know how sometimes the notches are different. Like if you serge something off, let's say when you went to serge it, it might look different than if you didn't. If you cut a little bit generously, it's going to look a little bit different. So always go with the notch. And again, just remember the back shoulder will often be a little bit larger. So this looks like it's a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So you have to pull that back shoulder to make it fit. And that's because you notice the dart's missing. So there's a little tiny bit of ease there. Did anybody see signs up about scissor sharpening recently? I think there should be somebody sharpening scissors soon. I think Mike's coming to do that. So if you are having trouble with either pair of your scissors, you could get them sharpened at that time. So press open your seams. And again, I'm just doing this so I don't have to go up and down, but you could take it and press it at the iron. So press your seams open. So it's going to look like that. And then this is ready now to receive the collar. Now, this collar, if you look at it, the under collar is smaller, the top collar is bigger. So the under collar is the one that has your fuse on it, right? So in order to make this fit, do you see this? I've had to kind of pull it a little bit. So when you pin it together, just stretch it to fit, because it will look, it's about 1/8 of an inch bigger all the way around. So it will make a difference. So now we don't have to do that offsetting it by 1/16 of an inch. It's probably not quite 1/8, it's 1/8 in total, but 1/16 everywhere. So it only has 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then if you can, try to go a little bit slowly, but don't stop around the corner. And that's the way you get nice, neat curves, and they don't have little kind of jagged pokes on them. Sometimes it's not as easy, and you know, it's not always possible, but if you can, make sure your edges are even, because if you don't allow that largeness to be different, you won't get the ease of turning it, so your under collar is going to be smaller. So make sure these bottom edges are the same, and then what you're noticing is your top edge is going to be different. So just stretch it a little bit, and it's quite easy to stretch because this is slightly biased. So here we come up to another corner or curve, and this is quite a tight little corner too, a tight little curve here. Make sure that you just sort of turn it. Yeah, so just try to don't stop, and then you'll get a nice curve there. Is anyone planning on doing this kind of collar on their dress? Have you started designing your dresses yet? Now when we just have a tiny bit of seam allowance, you don't really need to trim very much, but this one I made a little bit more generous, I think, than I did on the other side. Maybe not. So I'm going to trim just a little bit more around the curve, making it a little bit smaller. Now this is a little bit tricky to press open, right, when you have a collar like this. So what I'm going to do is understitch it to help that. So I'm going to start, I can't understitch all around the curve, but I can understitch from, let's see, probably about, you know, about here. So about an inch past the turn. So what I'm going to do is put this in and open up, and I'm understitching on the under collar, right? So the seam is pulled to the back, and this is where I'm gonna back tack a couple of stitches there. I'm really pulling this. And so this is this is to help you press it open. So you're really pulling here to open up the seam. And this will help you so much with pressing. Makes it so much faster. So all the seam allowance, so it's not being opened, it's just being, both sides are going towards the under collar, and I'm pulling it. You can see how hard I'm pulling with my fingers. It's really quite a good tension there. And then you're just going to go around to about the same on the other side. Now, of course, I'm doing it with contrast colored thread, but yours will be the muslin colored thread, and it's hardly noticeable on your collar. And quite often these collars are flat on the garment too. So again, just go as far as you can, and then on this part, we could do the same thing that we did on the other one. Remember how we just sort of tried to open it with finger pressing here a little bit? I mean, if you wanted, you could probably understitch the same as we did, but you'd only be able to go a short distance. So I think it might work better if we just try to finger press that one. And now you're going to turn it. Okay. So really open that up. And this is where you're going to take it to the iron. And see how much easier it's going to be to press this now that I've done the understitching. And what should happen is my top collar should be a little bit larger. So it's just favoring the top collar, and I've got the seam rolling underneath, just ever so slightly, but it's still opened up to the seam. There's no, what I don't want to see is this kind of thing, you know, how you sometimes have a little pleat here. Try to open that right up to the seam, and it should just roll gently under. And then here, see, this is where, you know, you don't want to get pokes. And I think the best way to do that is just to use your fingers and to round it a little bit like that. You know, just kind of pull and pull and pull. And then, you know, use your fingers to roll it a little bit. And then what we're going to do finally is top stitch. So we're just going to top stitch all around it. I'm going to have to press this first with the iron before I can do that. So my suggestion is, why don't we get this far? So we'll prepare the collar. You could go ahead and press and top stitch if you like.